What should be the first light you purchase as a filmmaker getting into cinematography? Now, I highly recommend a COB with a Bowens mount, and more specifically talking somewhere within the Amaran line of the 60X, the 100X, or the 200X. Now, yes, I might be biased because I do own a lot of Amaran and Aperture fixtures, and I am very comfortable using their app, but I highly recommend you stay within the Nanlite or the Aperture system because they are both pushing the game and you'll most likely end up owning many lights of the same brand. COB is essentially this, it's a chip on board. I don't know what that means in its own, but it's essentially the LEDs are right here on the edge, and Bowens mount means it has these little 3 hinges in the light where you can add the same modifiers as you grow in your career. That's why I think it's very important that you start with that system because you can really grow into it. Now, when it comes to the lighting side of it, the best part of starting with something like a COB with a Bowens mount is that you can actually create hard light and soft light. If you start with a panel, they are most likely just going to be soft light because the LEDs are right up a little softy, glassy panel that just makes soft light. You cannot take that off and then start shaping that source. It would be pretty much impossible and would defeat the whole purpose of what the panel's lights are, which is to fill a room with light. Now, what I mean about buying something so it grows with you and it's part of the same ecosystem is that I can control all of my lights, even this 200X, with the Sidus app. Nanlite has their own app, but the whole point is that I still use these lights as simple fills, as simple splashes of light in my scenes. So being able to control them through the Bluetooth app makes them so much easier. And one thing that I feel like we tend to forget about is the CRI, and it's essentially how white the light is, how much clean it is rather than having a magenta or just some form of a tint shift that now you have to fix in post or you have to find a way to correct it if it is a little bit strong. And that's why you want to stick to kind of the name brands. Now, after you purchase these fixtures, what should be the next light? Well, I would start to look into more powers. Of course, if you go through the Aperture lineup and the Nanlite, they all tend to have a number attached to the light, which equals the wattage and essentially the output of that light. So the bigger the number, the more power you're going to have. You also got to keep in mind, you don't just need a light, you actually need something to modify it. As you can see right now, I'm actually being lit by a 60X with a softbox on it. And all it does is it creates this much nicer soft light that can wrap around my face. But if I wanted to, I could throw a spotlight on that. I could throw a Fresnel on this thing. And that's what makes these so much more versatile and why I highly recommend you start with these. Now, I hope you found this helpful. I'm gonna be making more lighting tutorials and explaining a little bit more of what I actually do. Again, my name is Jesus Martinez and I own the lighting company called Cineglow, where I actually go and gaff with my 1-ton package and sources. I also am a cinematographer for hire, and I own, of course, my production house because once you kind of do a little bit of everything, you essentially can just manage the project. So if you guys have any questions, drop them down below. Would love to answer it. And any suggestions for future videos, drop them down below. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.